And so you get in this situation, you go right ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, you want to look to see, you know, if your contractor did what he was supposed to have done the first go around. Obviously, the insurance company is going to want to collect a double deductible on you to make you pay again. And if I were in your shoes, I would actually hire an attorney, Ray, to, you know, advocate for you. Trust me, the insurance company's trying to double dip, and I can go ahead and tell you what the contractor's going to do. He's going to tell you that he fixed it right the first time and it's not his fault the second time. And you're either going to have to pay an attorney one way or the other, so might as well find somebody to advocate for you.
Exactly. And, you know, unfortunately, Ray, in the state of Florida, no longer do you get attorney's fees against your insurance company with the change in law that happened a few years ago. And so this is going to be, you know, a double dip on you, because you're going to have an out-of-pocket expense in hiring an attorney, having to hire the contractor, and then probably maybe even having to hire a contractor to come back and repair what the first contractor did. It's a mess, but you got to get to the bottom of it. And people say, well, this is the way it happened. It happened, you know, 2 weeks ago it did this, and a month ago it happened that, so it must be. It's the timeline chronology, but sometimes it legitimately can be two separate events.
Yep.
And the exact same spot. And it's your burden of proof to do that. And so when you've got a contractor that says, hey, I fixed it right the first time, you know, what are my photographs? What do we have? What is your proof? What do you have?
Well, Larry, like you said it best, it is your burden to have to do that. So a contractor's just going to say, prove it. And if you don't have photos, if you can't establish that the damages are similar or the same, you may have a hard burden there. Then you're looking at your insurance company requiring you to pay a double deductible to file an additional claim. And you know, there's new changes in the laws now with property damage claims, so make sure that you're aware of that. But by all means, get an attorney to represent you, Ray. Get someone that can actually help you navigate these waters, that's skilled in construction law, you know, with dealing with contractors. And because their insurance companies actually may be on the hook as well.
Right, it could be. We just don't know enough about it. Phone lines are open, folks, 850-392-1544, or you can email us at lawcall@WMBB.com. Of course, we are simulcasting on WDHN up in Dothan, Alabama, Facebook Live. You can reach out to us as well. But give us a call, 850-392-1544, or if you don't want to go on the air, give us that email, lawcall@WMBB.com.
So Larry, ask us anything. Get this out here. How's the game going to be Saturday night? Death Valley, man. 6:30.
It's Death Valley. You and I have been at that Alabama game. It's electric. It's incredibly loud. It's one of the loudest stadiums. It's one of the greatest experiences. Of course, you're going to come out smelling like a corn dog. You know, I had to get that. I had to get that in.
Okay.
I had to get that in. But it is really one of the most fun atmospheres to be in. And I've been down there on the losing end a couple of times. I'm a graduate of Auburn as well. I went down there. You know, Auburn got their hand. You know, when Fournette was playing. Just handed us a terrible loss down there. Of course, I've been down there when Alabama has taken the victory.
People have asked me, said, "You and Larry have a wager?" And I'm like, "I'm smarter than that."
No, we don't.
because for several years, it hasn't gone very well for LSU until Joe Burrow came to town, and then
it beat us all the way up and beat us in T-Town.
Yeah.
And you went to that game with us.
So I do have a question for you, Larry, since we're kind of in just good humor right now. From Neil the Rock Rivers.
Here, fishy.
Yeah. Shouldn't it be considered illegal for Larry Perry to look so good on television?
It's the hair product. It's the hair product.
That is a true text right there from Neil.
Neil, thank you very much. You're too kind. And no, come on, buddy.
All right, let's switch gears here. Let's talk about auto insurance, Larry.
Let's do, because it's a lot of things going on out there in the world, and you know, inflation has gone up. People are trying to cut, you know, where they can. They go online and they say, oh, I can save 15% if I only do 1, 2, and 3. But 1, 2, and 3 can not just cost you 15%, it can cost you tens of thousands and sometimes even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's talk about that for a moment.
And some people think that they have full coverage.
Yeah,
they get
nobody
involved in
knows.
an accident, and one of the questions that we ask our clients, do you have uninsured motorist coverage? Because we don't know at that point, typically speaking, what the other person, the at-fault party, actually has in coverage to give you a fair assessment about what you're looking at and how to navigate your case. We always ask that question, do you have uninsured motorists? And a lot of times we call it UM or UIM, and 50% of the time, 60% of the time, 70%, I mean, it's high. they said, no, I've got full coverage.
Right, I got my agent said, or when I clicked offline, it says I got full coverage.
And that's not full coverage. Full coverage does not mean uninsured motorist coverage. You actually have to select that and reject it on your policy when you actually get your policy. And it's so important that the state of Florida requires you to sign a document rejecting that coverage, Larry.
I know. We've got a caller. We've got, I believe we've got Carla on the line. Carla, what can we help you with tonight?
Yes, I had a question about land. What has happened, my brother passed away and I had given him some land. And from my understanding, I think they say that the land would be passed on to the surviving child. Okay, my brother was supposed to put my name on the deed, but he did not put it on there. So is there any actions I can take?
Well, you know, since you gave the land, probably what you need to do is take a look at that original deed and see what it says in that. If there is a surviving child for your brother, and we're sorry that he's passed away, but if your brother was supposed to put your name on there as a remainder or a life estate where he had it until he passed away, and he did not do it, then there may not be anything that you can do unless he's got a will. That may be another way that he has expressed himself, that he's made a will. But Chris, what we're talking about here is transferring a property. And in the state of Florida, Alabama, and Georgia, if you're going to transfer a property, you have to transfer property by writing. It can't be, I said so, or you said so, or he was supposed to, and he told me.
And when he passes away, you have to have a will, or unless
it's either got to be in the deed.
Back to intestate, matters with the state, and then the state picks up and determines who that property is supposed to go to. So, Carla, honestly, at this point, the best thing to do is contact an attorney who specializes in probate law, who's familiar with navigating estates, and they can give you a better, roadmap to figure out what to do and how to do it, and how to deal with other family members that may be considered beneficiaries or heirs up under your brother's estate. And so, you definitely want to make sure that you actually look into that first. And kind of go that route, because you can kind of mess things up thinking you can do it yourself, because you actually may have more rights than what you actually realize that you do right now. And even though he didn't put your name on the deed, there may be something that can be worked out amongst the family members if there are any surviving heirs there.
Right, and she said he had a son, but again, go in, sit down, talk with an attorney, have that initial consult. We've got your number, and we see that you're up in Jackson. We'll do our best to make an appropriate referral to you tomorrow, okay?
Larry, I think we have another caller online.
We do.
So, Tina, go ahead with your question, please.
Well, hello. I have a 27-year-old Down syndrome boy, and after many years, his father and I are getting a divorce. But there's no place on the divorce papers that tell you I'm sorry, I had dementia. Oh boy.
So you've got an adult child who has Down syndrome, and Miss Tina, and so is he able to care for himself, or is it something that one of the parents or a family member has been having to help care for him as he's reached adulthood?
Yeah, and we're on the program with the state for APD, adult persons with disabilities, and but I can't talk to them. They only talk to the representative of the program. I'm the caretaker, and he just does the bookwork. Even though he's never done it before, I've always had to do it for him.
Right. Yeah. Well, when you go through a divorce situation and you have an adult child, technically they're over the age of 18, and it depends really upon the level and skill that the adult child, what they can and what they cannot do, and how they can handle themselves. If they can't handle themselves, and you mentioned you went down to do your divorce paperwork, that there's not a place on the divorce paperwork for an adult child.
Right.
And so when you have that, this is something that you're going to have to talk with an attorney about, because we don't know the specifics about your adult son. And Northwest Florida Legal Services, you're here local in Bay County, they can sit down and talk with you about it to see what's the best way to handle this particular situation, because even though husband and wife are divorcing, you still have may have a child which you have responsibility for beyond the age of 18. Right. So this is something that's very sensitive, and something that we, really, this is something that, like I said, Northwest Florida Legal Services would be a great aspect for it, since you're trying to do this on your own. Okay.
Yeah, right. But I was just going to jump in and reiterate that, Larry. Tina, make sure that you get an attorney involved. Filling out these forms or trying to do it yourself can kind of convolute things and maybe complicate things and mess things up from the get-go. And hopefully Northwest Florida Legal Services can actually help you and guide you through some of that and give you some guidance. Our phone lines are open, 850-392-1544. You can always email us at lawcall@wnbb.com. It's Ask Us Anything tonight. We're going to take our first break of the evening. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hey, we're back. We didn't know who was supposed to take lead on that one.
That's okay.
Phone lines are open, 850-392-1544, but we've got a caller on the line. Let's go to Bill. Okay, Bill had a question about landlord-tenant law, and he wanted to know, he told the production assistant before we got on the air that he had a 7-day notice to cure letter from his landlord. Mm-hmm. And so, first of all, let's explain what that is, Chris, and then we don't know what the nature of the cure needed to be, but 7 days.
I'm assuming if it's curing, it's having to pay your rent.
Right. Well, it's either paying rent. Three-day notices on the paying rent. Right. 7-day usually means that there's something wrong with the property. They've got an animal in the house that they're not supposed to have. They've got a junked out car on the lawn that they're not supposed to have, or somebody staying with them that's not supposed to be in them. And so you got 7 days to cure whatever that is, and you basically respond back that it's been cured, it's been taken care of.
In writing.
In writing. In writing. And you got to verify it. So I always tell people, take your phone out and say, here it is, and take it back. You don't have to be, upsetting about it. But usually if it's a 3-day notice to cure, that's when you got your rent that's due.
Well, not only that, Larry, if you're going to do anything as a tenant, notifying your landlord, Larry, I would go the extra mile of sending certified mail, taking a copy of that certified receipt, maybe making a copy onto the letter that you're sending to that landlord, just to make sure that you're providing proof. In the event that the landlord actually goes one step further and tries to evict you, you can actually show proof to the court that, hey, I've done everything that the landlord asked me. I'm not breaching my contract or my lease agreement, and that will help navigate things a lot easier if he were
Absolutely, that's great advice, Chris. And then also, if it is an item that needs to be removed or grass that needs to be cut, get your photographs of that, whatever it is that needed to be cured, you know, photograph it, document it. Landlords can be a little testy sometimes, and as Chris pointed out, I've also known landlords in the past that even though you cure it, they're going to go haul down to the courthouse and try to get you evicted at that point in time. So make sure that you cross your T's, dot your I's, and document everything that you do.
You know, I keep going back to this text message that Neil the Rock Rivers sent me.
He's the Rock, man.
Now Neil, I'm actually sitting beside this guy, and he actually looks better in person than he actually does on camera. If he's looking great on camera as a superstar, he's a movie action movie star here in person. But you know, Larry, for Neil, you know, I'm really worried about him.
I'm beginning to worry about him too. If he's texting that I look good, then
look,
we got problems.
I got to just take.
I'm next to Hollywood over here. Yeah.
You know that tomahawk chop that he's got going on. You think his elbow's hurting this year?
It's probably kind of weak. He hadn't used it enough this year. You know?
I wasn't sure about that, you know, because he always likes to just throw shade my way. So I'm just asking him. You know, I wonder if that elbow's going to be okay.
I think it's rested up for the year. He's not going to need Tommy John surgery this season. I think he'll be good to go next year. Maybe 2 or 3 years from now at this point. Kenyon Coleman tweeted out that telling folks not to go to Florida State.
You know what? That's a shame.
That's horrible. The kid gets a first-round draft choice from being in Florida State.
Yes.
And then tweets out, "Hey, recruits, y'all don't need to go."
And Florida State's done nothing but help promote that young man.
Oh yeah.
And do all these great things for him. Mm-hmm. And so that, you know.
And put him in the position to be in the first-round draft.
Yep. And no matter who you root for or who you don't root for, they're still kids and they're still going to make mistakes. But at the same time, if they're going to act like adults and take money like adults and take this NIL money and programs that Coach Norvell is putting together and trying to do something really good for a university, if he's actually trying to help these children or help these young men, have some decency, have some loyalty, and act like an adult.
Yeah, I mean, well, you and I go through it. I mean, we have our ups and downs with our teams, and we also know though that these are kids. Now this year, 17-year-old from Alabama, you know, to 20-something-year-old, they're still kids.
Let's hope he gets the flu on Saturday night or something like that. You know, Larry, but going back to the full coverage thing, I just want to harp on that just a little bit more.
And you need to harp on it because we see it too often, and we've got to be the people that give bad news.
And what we try to do now, and we've done it for many, many years, and ever since we've opened up our shop, you know, open up the doors, is we will actually sit down with anybody to come to us and say, hey, look, can you review my insurance policy?
Right.
Can you look at this so we don't have to give individuals bad news after the fact, after an accident has happened, you know?
Yeah.
And so, you know, if you have questions about your policy, getting a tongue twister here, you know, give us a call. Any of our attorneys will be glad to sit down with you or actually do an interview on the phone with you or Zoom, review your documents with you, and make sure that you're getting the proper coverage that you can afford, but also the proper coverage that protects you and your family.
Yeah.
And make sure that you know, if you got children out of the home or young children or many cars, what are the best options
students,
for you?
You know, things like that. Yeah, we can cover it all for you. We've got a caller though.
We do. I think it's Robert from Dale County, Larry.
Yes. My name is Robert McKenzie. I have a problem with a lot that I put a mobile home on, and when I put the mobile home on the lot, it was outside the city limits. Since then, the city took it in, and the mobile home burned down, and I put another one there. They said I could not do it because they did not allow mobile homes in the city. But I was under the impression that if it was on the whatever you had that used that property for prior to it becoming city limits, you could continue to do that, and that it was grandfathered in.
You know, we're running a little short on time here, but you're correct in the grandfather clause and the way that works. The difference in your case and the way the grandfather clause works is the mobile home disappeared, it burned down. And once the conditions change, the city does have a right to come in and say, no, you cannot rebuild or bring in a mobile home because now that does not meet code. I don't know the specifics about the particular ordinance or the way that the city took in the the mobile home area. So again, this is something you probably need to sit down with an attorney face to face with. You're correct on the grandfather clause, but I think the difference and the change here is the change in circumstances with the burning down of the mobile home, and now they can prevent you from coming, bringing that in. We see that a lot down here in the coast, Chris. With mobile homes and modular homes and things of that nature.
And not being able to replace those after they've been torn down.
After a hurricane, yeah. So after Hurricane Michael, the zoning had changed, and after that, you weren't allowed to go that. So, Robert, great call, great question. We'll see if we can get somebody to help you out. Folks, stay tuned. We'll be right back in just a moment. Lots of people.
All right, Larry, get off
We're
your
live.
phone.
Oh, wait. Oh, no, that's for Neil. No.
Oh, Neil.
No, that's actually just water, but anyways.
You think we could get him on the show one night?
I think it would be great to have Neil.
I think it'd be pure entertainment. I think all of our viewers would really enjoy meeting Neil.
They need to
Neil
meet
Rivers.
some of our friends and need to, bring his guitar up here. Y'all pick a little bit.
Lord knows he does not need to bring a guitar up here. I've seen him play a guitar. And it's,
Joyous noise, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
as we do that.
Larry, we're in our final wrap. One thing that we haven't talked about, we don't need to jump knee deep into it or head first, but get out and vote. Voting,
Yes.
Wraps up on Tuesday. Every vote counts. You're wearing a very good color for voting.
Yes, I am. But it makes no difference. We truly want you to exercise your right to vote. Blood has been shed, many world wars, and we want you to get out and vote. We got some shout-outs.
I do have some shout-outs.
Yeah, I'll let you go first. You got a longer list than I do tonight.
My wife is actually up because she just got finished decorating her friend's Christmas tree. So I know she has to be up watching this, I'm sure. And I'm not sure if Boss Man is laying there snoring or whatever, but he's probably there with her as a shadow. My mom's watching, Mason's watching, my nephew, Trace, Judy Smith, Aunt Sissy, Pam Myers, Paula Frederick, Doug Smith is actually watching because he's been texting us all night. Rick from the Marlin, Neil the Rock Rivers, obviously we've mentioned his name more than once tonight, and Gary Starr.
Gary the Man Star. There you go. We got Aaron Peterson is watching us from up in Jackson County as well. Got a couple of photographs to get to real quick here as we close out tonight. Here, who we got? Oh, Night to Honor Israel. Sure. That is coming up after the election. Save the date, Thursday, November 14th. At the Boardwalk Center here. It's open to everyone. Pastor John Hagee is coming to town, and it is an open invitation. We've got a couple more photographs. Let's get to those. We didn't get to Logan.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
She
cut Logan.
She's feisty.
Oh, she is. But
she's doing a good
ran
job.
into Logan and his family. I'm sorry, Logan. I promised you it'd be on. I, couldn't get it on tonight, but we'll get your photograph on soon. If you see us out and about, let us take a selfie. We'll take care of it.
Behind the scenes here, Larry had a photograph of Logan, but they said not enough time.
No, they said they didn't have it.
Yeah.
They didn't have it.
All right.
But anyways, folks, enjoy your evening. Thank you so much for watching us, staying up that extra hour for the hour that was lost to watch us on LawCall.
Good evening, and go Tigers, and
Roll Tide.
see you next week.